Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well.
How you doing?
Hello. Hi.
Okay, so really quickly, if everyone from group three could introduce themselves. I'm Andy. I'm going to be sort of like the main moderator of this focus group.
I'm Shantae. I'll be the co-moderator to the focus group.
I'm Sarina. I will be collecting data.
I'm Isabella or Isa, and I will also be collecting data.
Perfect. Group four, if you wouldn't mind, could you also introduce yourselves? We could
Uh,
start with Daylan.
I'm Dalen. I'm just participating right now.
I'm Monet and I'm also a participant.
My name is Sophia and I'm also a participant.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So for this focus group, just so that you all know, we're going to be talking about the PCP program in general. We just want to see your perspectives on a couple of things, okay? So the first question is, do you feel appreciated and valued as a student in the PCP program? We could start with Daylan.
Do I feel valued or appreciated?
Yeah, as a
In what
student.
sense do you mean valued?
In whatever way you can like interpret it.
I
Do you
guess
think
I
the
feel
staff
valued.
appreciate you, the students?
Yeah, I guess I feel valued. The teachers make sure that, whatever you need, you can email them, you can text them. They try their best to be there for you, and the assignments are pretty easy. So I feel like they're valuing my time. They're not giving me like that redundant work that we had like in like undergrad where it's like just book work, book work, book work. I feel like the work that they give you actually means something. So yeah, they're valuing my time for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate that detailed response. Does anyone agree with what he's saying?
I agree with what he's saying. As you said, the teachers do make office hours available if you have a problem, and they do get back to you pretty quickly if you email them or message them on Canvas. And other students in the class, you could always message them to ask them questions, and most of them are willing to share information.
Awesome. Sophia, is there anything about what they said that like interests you?
I agree. I think that they do value our time. I would also like to add that I think that at least some professors, they really make sure to give you feedback on your work. And I guess that makes me feel like they're at least putting like attention, or they are paying attention to the work that we're submitting and providing feedback so that we know how we're doing. So that's also a pro and makes me feel, like I said, like you said, valued in the program.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like you all agree to some extent that at least the professors will value your time and will put in enough effort to make sure that like everything you need is met. Does that
Yeah, for
sound
the most
correct?
part. Yeah, for the most part,
Yeah.
for sure.
Awesome, awesome. I really appreciate the responses. With that being said, we could lead into like the next part, right? Which is, do you feel like you've been able to build relationship with the students in your cohort, which includes us?
I'll let
Sorry,
Sophia go first. You go
oh,
first.
me? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like the work, the group projects and all that, they really have allowed at least me to meet some of my classmates and some of the people in my cohort. I remember Sarina, we worked on a project last semester, so it's good seeing her again. And I think like Monet mentioned, we're able to kind of reach out to one another, and I at least feel very comfortable reaching out to you guys if I ever have a question or something like that.
Some awesome. Does anyone else have any thoughts?
It's the same thing. Like everyone's always really helpful. So you can go in the group chat or you can message somebody on the side and they're always gonna, they're gonna respond and they're gonna help you figure out whatever it is.
That's
Yeah,
reasonable.
absolutely.
Do you maybe feel like the online program influences that?
Yes.
You're like in a hole. Oh yeah, Monet, you take this one. Take this
Yeah, yeah.
one.
Yes, because I feel like when you're going to like in-person school, you don't really talk to nobody when you get to class. You just want to get to class, finish, hear the professor, and like kind of go home. Or if you have work, you kind of just go to class and then go to your job or something. But I feel like now that we're in like online school and we're kind of doing it at our own pace weekly, if we have like a question, we'll just be like, hey guys, did you do this? And as Sophia said, the group work kind of forces you to meet new people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you,
Sophia, is there-
any of you all feel, do any of you all feel like the relationships, there's anything negative regarding the online program?
You mean is there drama or beef?
No, not drama or beef, but I mean, like, you know, when you meet in person, you get the personal relationship of actually physically seeing your classmates. But, you know, when you're online, you really don't, you know, feel that personal connection. So I just wanted to know that if there was anything negative about, you know, the online relationships.
I mean, if I could answer this, I definitely would say that not having that in-person interaction is, of course, it makes the relationships that we are building, they're kind of lacking in some aspects. Like we don't know, for instance, I haven't met everyone in the group. I've only met, you know, those who I've had the pleasure of working in a group with. So like if we were, let's say, in an in-person class, all of us, then we would have already met all of us. We would have maybe already had a conversation. And since the program is extended over like multiple years and we're all seeing the same faces, it maybe if we were in person, that would have given us an opportunity to build closer relationships since we have that face-to-face constantly. But like Monet said, I also feel like the pro of having you guys online constantly is if, you know, one of us isn't able to make it a day, if we were in person, I don't know, for instance, we're still able to kind of catch up and share experiences and share our thoughts online through group chats and stuff. So I think that's where the pros and cons are for me.
Thank you.
Does anyone like agree with her list of pros and cons? Like, how reasonable did she just summarize that?
I feel like, yeah, it's pretty reasonable. I always take online classes, so it doesn't make a difference for me. I've taken it like all of undergrad, so it's not a difference. It's the same thing. In person, I'm more likely to just ignore you than on the like online. I'll just reach out to you, I'll text you or something. But in person, I'm just gonna avoid you. So if anything, it makes me a little more social. It forces me, like, dang, if I don't know what I'm doing, I have to reach out because if I bother the professor, 9 out of 10 times they take like 10 years to email you back. So
I thought you just said they made time for you.
yeah, these do, but in undergrad, you will spend years waiting for a response.
Right. So some professors, you know, some professors make more time than others. That's
I
reasonable.
feel like this program does a good job at like professors are on time, but compared to undergrad, I know a couple of you had some professors you would email and you just wouldn't hear back.
Right.
Absolutely.
Monet, I'm interested in hearing like what are your thoughts? Do you think you miss out on any in-person interactions because of the online program?
I miss out on free t-shirts and free food on campus, if I am being honest. That's what I miss out on, and free supplies. I guess it would have been fun to like, I guess sometimes be able to like meet up with like classmates because you would have been seeing them every day and probably you would have time between classes. So you guys would probably do homework together or something along those lines. But you know, with online school, I could do my homework in my bed.
That's true.
I'm just missing like some Starbucks and that's it from my point of view. I kind of prefer the online classes because as I said, it offers a lot of flexibility. So you could literally be at home or you could work from home and still be doing your schoolwork and have free time on the weekend. So that's like a big plus for me.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we could go like down the board here. Like what it sounds to me like at least the people in this group prefer flexibility over social interaction. Is that true?
Yes, for me.
Okay.
For me too, for sure.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But we
What's
still
like your
be-
reasoning for that? I'm curious.
Go ahead, Dylan.
I don't know if you guys know about this, but social anxiety, that's a real thing. So for
Absolutely.
me, I've always had social anxiety, so I prefer to just stray away. If it's like a 1 or 2 person interaction, I'm fine with that. But when it's like a giant group, it's like, oh my God, why?
Mhm.
So, sure. Like I was crippled the entire day. I couldn't do anything because I was like, have this meeting, I have like 8 people to talk to. Yeah, I'm just gonna die tonight. So for sure, that's a big plus to have virtually not have to deal with people in person.
Good
I
thing you're
probably,
alive. Good thing you're alive for this. They needed you here.
yeah.
We appreciate it. So
Thanks,
do you
guys.
feel like your temperament sort of plays into like the reasoning why you like online schooling? Like, is it because you're introverted, something like that, maybe?
Yeah, and I don't like wasting gas either. And campus is far.
Not in
Yeah,
this
that's very
economy. Yeah.
reasonable. Yeah,
Mhm.
of course, of course.
And yeah, I live really far from campus, so they would just, well, thank you.
So if if you had to be honest, right, would you have preferred these past 2 semesters to be in person or online? Or would you have preferred a hybrid?
Online.
Okay.
Online.
So I'm assuming the reasoning you gave us earlier is the reason why you would all prefer online, right? It's more flexible, it prevents you from social anxiety, and it sort of allows you to do work at your own pace, which is reasonable. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah,
That actually
like
leads, yeah,
oh, go ahead.
no, go.
I was just gonna add, like, I don't know about like all of you guys, but for sure I've always had that have to have had that find that balance between like school and work. And again, like Monet said, like doing it at your own pace and finding that flexibility, that is a big pro for that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well articulated. It seems like we can all agree on that to some extent.
Mhm.
When it comes to assignments, do you feel like the projects and assignments that we've received so far in PCP have like adequately taught you like the information about all the topics? Like, do you feel like you've learned everything our professors have intended for us to learn so far?
I
Not
think
all at
yes.
once.
Yeah, I think yes.
Just playing.
I've so far really enjoyed at least the projects. That's what I'm kind of my mind's coming to. I've enjoyed the projects that we've had to do either in groups or by ourselves. I really enjoyed last semester's project for the sexuality course. That allowed me a big opportunity to kind of, I think I mentioned it before, not here, but I've said it before, that the things that I wanted to learn in that class, if I felt like I hadn't yet, that project really allowed me to kind of research the things that I was interested in. So I really enjoyed that one.
That's awesome to hear.
Mhm.
Has anyone else had any like good experiences with the projects?
For me, I like the assignments that we got in the sexuality class because I feel like every week I was out here make believe therapist already, giving these people new plans for new issues. Um, and then I feel like the ethics project gave me some challenges. It was like 5 pages, and then we had to critique other people's like assignment. I might have interpreted that wrong because I thought we had to go in there and make like grammatical corrections and all that stuff. And then I found out that you just needed to go do the little 8 out of 10 marks thing. So that was, as Sophia said, it was a good semester with the assignments and projects.
So with
Jalen, do you agree with that? Oh, sorry.
no worries. So with the assignments and projects, and I guess I'll guide this question towards Monet. Do you think they help us as far as like real life situations, and are you learning anything towards your future goal?
I think so far, yes. Because, as I said, in the sexuality assignments, we had actual case studies, even if they might not be like a textbook case. We had like different scenarios that we had to put ourselves in to see what would tell that client, and each client was different and came with a different set of problems. Whether there was a couple or a single person. So that was like good practice for like theoretical work.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
We can have everyone sort of, we can see everyone's opinion on that. Do you feel like so far what you've learned has like helped you like make progress towards like your career goals? I don't know if you've figured out exactly what career you want to go into yet, but if you have, do you feel like what we've learned so far has helped you reach that goal by any like extent?
Yeah, I think so, because we do a lot of, well, we did a lot of role playing in that class. And I think
Mhm.
it's important, like if people want to do clinical, it's important that we get, even right now, like a little bit of practice, just role playing and being in situations or scenarios that you're more likely to hear in real life. So yeah, I think so.
And Sophia?
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I enjoyed the role playing assignments as well, like they've mentioned before. And I also like to point out I really enjoyed the ethics course when it came to kind of preparing you for the like your career in the future, because I feel like regardless of what route you decide to go in, how you should behave as a therapist is a big part of it. And I feel like I don't know about the assignments, but definitely just the material in that course was really interesting, and it definitely I would expect myself to use it in the future.
Excellent. I appreciate all your viewpoints on that. While we're on the topic of assignments, what's your opinions on the format of the curriculum so far? So like some of our classes are assignments once a week. Some classes are mainly through the textbook. Others have like journal articles mixed into the modules. So far, what is like your favorite format for learning that we've experienced so far?
I like the journals that we had to do last semester. And for this semester, I feel like I like the format that we have for the lifespan class, because it's just like going in, doing your readings, and then if we have a lab, you do it, and if we have a discussion.
Right. Is it because you think it's simple or you just enjoy how straightforward it is?
I just like how straightforward it is.
Awesome. Awesome. I appreciate your opinion.
For me, I really enjoyed the play post-it, I think that's called what it's called,
Mhm.
for last semester's and this semester's research course. The videos, I think I like them just because I enjoy the material. Again, I just enjoy the way that they use those videos to teach you something. I feel like the last year's sexuality class also had videos, and I just think they're fun, they're interactive, because you have to answer questions on them. So I like those because you're like kind of learning as you're completing an assignment.
Yeah, I
What
agree.
about
Those videos are helpful. Just because like, yeah, okay, we all know we have to read, but when it's like forcing you to read and it's forcing you to learn, for me it's a little easier because I can just forget that I need to read a chapter, and then it's like, oh, now I don't know what's going on. Same thing with the perusal that we're using now. I like that it forces me to read the chapter and then comment, and like it's basically helping the way that I can comprehend what we're learning.
Yeah, some of
right?
the comments on that from our fellow students are like, they're really cool because they break down the information in there. They're like, oh, this is what that means. And I'm like, look at you go. That's awesome. So,
Right. So it sounds like you enjoy like the interaction that these assignments offer you, like whether it's a video or other like peers, you just like that you are receiving feedback through like some way, right?
I don't know if it's feedback. I think it's more like, you know, you from the perusals, for instance, you get those different opinions from your classmates, or you get that additional information. And then from the videos, it's not textbook, but it's just interactive, just because as you're going, you have to commit those things to memory. And if you want to do a good job on those quizzes. So I don't know if it's the feedback, just I guess like you said, the interaction, but I don't know if it's feedback. I don't know what the word for it is. I'm sorry.
I appreciate you clarifying. So it's more so like the variety that you receive from these sources, right? Like you receive
Yeah.
different types of information from different people, and the videos offer like a rare insight that sometimes the readings don't offer.
Yeah, yeah, I think it would be that. Yeah, it's a new kind of way to get information, and I like that.
Yeah, I really appreciate you clarifying. Monet, you said earlier that you sort of like the readings. Is it for like the same reason? I know you said it was straightforward, but I feel like maybe that perspectives point might have related to you somehow.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Sophia said. And I forgot, I didn't even remember that we had like pre-posted videos last semester, if I'm being honest. But the TED Talks, some of them were really interesting. And some of them I like showed to friends and we had like discussions about them. And even the videos that we had to do, because you know, some weeks in the sexuality class last semester we had videos. I would show them to my friends too and then have like discussion, see where their mind was at. Because they're not like in the same major as us here as most doing psychology right now. They're like in accounting or science or they're like in business. So it was good to see like other people's perspective on stuff that we were learning in school.
Right. So it's like the diversity of opinions that really interested you.
Yeah.
Same.
That's lovely. I appreciate the clarification. I guess from here, we've sort of spoken a good bit about the quality of the PCP program. So are you all happy with your choice of pursuing your graduate training through the PCP program so far? Like, are you happy with the choice that you applied here, that you got accepted with the whole process so far?
Yeah, I'm happy. I enjoy the program so far. I am enjoying the cohort. I'm enjoying the assignments. I'm enjoying all the projects. If I had to do it again, I would.
That's awesome. Does anyone else share her sentiment?
Sophia hit the nail on the head as she said that, yeah, it's a good program. I feel like I made the right decision. And especially since it offers all the flexibility, big perk.
Mhm.
So yeah.
What about you, Dalen?
They said everything. There's nothing else to say. Like they're right. It gives you everything. Like it was a good choice to come here to do your PCP program.
I'm glad we all came to a consensus on that, which is great because we're all here, right? If you had to sort of describe the best features about the program so far, and it doesn't have to be anything we've mentioned so far, what would that be?
I feel like you have some professors that go out of their way to like get resources to you. You know how we didn't have to pay for like a textbook for like two other classes so far in the cohort, and she'll like post slides or reads extra readings for us to help us comprehend the information better. I feel like that's a big plus because you know usually when you go to undergrad or even graduate school, the professors don't really care. If the material is two $500 textbooks, nobody really cares. Just get it and get the work done is usually what you get, which I haven't gotten that vibe from school yet, which is a good sign.
I
Yes,
agree.
that's
That's a
right.
big plus. Go ahead.
No, you first. Ladies first.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a big plus. It's the accessibility to textbooks or just information without having to spend so much money. And I feel like definitely some of the professors on the program so far, it kind of shows that they have our best interests in mind, you know, just because some of us may not be able to afford it, but then she's kind of making sure that we don't fall short because of that difficulty. So yeah, I think that the professors or some of them for sure have been my favorite aspect of the course if I had to pick, just because the feedback that they do provide is really helpful. The assignments are really interesting. And just the way that they guide the course is also really interesting and again, easy to follow and easy to learn from.
I'm glad to hear it. Dalen, did you have a follow-up?
No, just basically like I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was the first meeting ever that we had with I'm not sure what professor, I can't remember, but she was like, I don't want you guys spending your money because that stuff is expensive. It was like, yeah, you're right, it is. Like usually in undergrad, they're like, yeah, It's $500. Don't know how you're gonna get it, but you need the book next week, pronto. But she was more like, yeah, I know it's expensive. I don't want you guys to have to pay anything. I'll do my best, and that's a nice thing. Like for you to try and give me all these resources. I don't know. It makes you feel valued. It's like, wow, thank you.
Yeah,
we're
of
circling
course.
back.
Yeah, right? It's coming
Yeah.
full circle. Uh that's actually like really interesting because you all sort of mentioned how like the professors are going out of their way to improve the course as they go, right? Because if I remember correctly, she did mention that originally there was a textbook that was mandatory, and then she found resources to replace it. So do you feel like the PCP program is sort of like willing to like change itself for the benefit of the students?
I hope so. I hope that the PCP program and FIU is open to feedback and open to changes. I feel like that's just, and it'll make changes, and being open to other people's perspectives is just allows any program to be better in the long run.
It's a very
Right.
adaptive program because we had that issue with the what were we trying to use this semester?
My lab, right?
Yeah, like my
Yeah.
lab. And she just, you know what? She did her best. She found a workaround and we adapted, and it's like that's just great. Some professors are just gonna they get stuck on that one track mind. They're gonna figure out how to work my lab. They're not gonna work around it. But it
Mhm.
was nice that she found a workaround.
That's awesome. So
Yep.
it sounds like so far everyone's been like accommodated for the most part, right? We have accessibility to resource. They're making sure that if we have any problems with the assignments, they give us time for it, right?
Mhm.
They're also going out of their way to like improve the classes themselves as they experience them, right? So from upgrading from like a textbook to multiple different resources that can teach us the same information. Is there like, do you feel like there's anything they could improve upon? Like what else do you think they're missing? Or do you think that they're already like on the right road to becoming like an amazing program? Because this program is still relatively new, at least the online.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, I don't know. What about you, Monet? What do you think?
I kind of feel like they're, especially for a new program, they're on a good pathway so far. If they continue on it, it could only get better. As Andy mentioned, even though she said there was a textbook before, and because she didn't want us to spend any money, she literally went out of her way to find a different resource that was free. So that's like a really good thing. Um, and even though all the professors are like probably not in the state of Florida, they still make time to ensure that your messages are answered back in a timely manner. Because I know if you there's one professor, if you message her like right now, or you message her at like 2 o'clock, by 3:30 she's already answered you. So there's like no confusion, and she's always willing to like jump on a Zoom call to talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if I had to add something that I would like to see more of would just be more meetings with the professors like as a group. Um not because it's necessary, but I think that that would be very nice just because I have enjoyed the meetings that we've had so far with them, being able to, pick their brains as professors and as people who know more than us, being able to like have a conversation or a discussion. And then if we meet as a group with them, we could again bounce those ideas. And I think that would just be really interesting and would supplement what we're already learning.
Yeah, well said. So we've covered a lot of points about the PCP program as a whole. So now as students, right, this could be learned from the program or just individually. What method of studying works the best for you, right? Like, do you feel like during the PCP program, you have sort of evolved your own way of learning, or do you think it's like stayed the same? And like, why?
It's the same for me. For me, it's notes. I have to write things down in order to commit them into my brain. If not, I forget. So for me, I just write notes, like make myself, if it's like a big paragraph that I don't really understand, I just try to summarize it in my own words so that I can understand it better. So that's just my way. But no, it hasn't changed.
That's reasonable.
Mhm.
For me, I feel like it's kind of like stayed one way. I just know that I should not miss any other readings, like for any other classes, because I feel like I manage the assignments better once I have all the readings and watching the videos and stuff under control. It's easier for me to do the assignments that way instead of like if I miss one or two readings and then I'm like, oh my God, when did we learn this? So when
Mhm.
it was right there in the reading.
Mhm.
So yeah. Dylan?
It's the same for me. I haven't changed. I write it down like physically. I've never been one to write on like the laptop. I just feel like I don't comprehend what I'm writing if I'm just typing. So it's just the
Mhm.
same. Take my notes, read the book. Nothing new.
That's reasonable. So when it comes to studying, right, we've sort of discussed like what formats of the curriculum you like so far, but is there any particular resources that we've received so far that has really like helped you overall? Like I can give you an example. In one of the previous semesters, they sent us a link to like the entire ACA, the Code of Ethics, and that for me was like one of like the best resources
Holy
we've
grail.
received so far. Yeah, it's like wow, this is like a perfect summary of everything I need. So, is there
Mhm.
anything like that for you that you feel like you benefited from throughout the program?
Um, for me, I really enjoyed those code of conduct and the Florida statutes. Those are really interesting. And I don't know, was a question that a resource that they've sent to us? Was that specifically it?
It could be any resource, but if it's from PCP, that would be great.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Wonderful.
Monet.
You could go before me.
Me? Okay. I like the I don't know what professor does it or what class, but they always give us like a lot of additional resources, whether it's like another article or maybe another video that you can watch. I like those. I don't know if you guys look at it, but I like to skim through them. It helps supplement the reading.
Mhm.
And the movies, I forgot to add those. Interesting.
That's
Those are
also
fun.
true.
Mhm.
I like when they add the videos. So I agree with Sophia. I like when they add the little videos and the TED Talks. And most of the TED Talks that they've added so far, they kind of put the readings into like live situations. So that's always good to see it come alive like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, wonderful. So it sounds like we all each have like sort of our own resources that we prefer, but we can all agree that the program does offer additional resources that we find helpful.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
Perfect. Uh, before we end our focus group, is there anything that we haven't mentioned so far that you guys like have had at the back of your mind about the PCP program? Maybe it's like, oh, this specific class could have been a bit lengthier. Or, oh, this assignment should have been done a little better. It doesn't necessarily have to be a criticism, but just any interesting opinions that you've had on our experiences so far. And if you need an example, I could give you one.
Okay, what's your example?
My example is that I'm looking forward to our classes where we start to do more role play in between students. So it could be a criticism, anything you're looking forward to in the future, anything really, because that's something I'm looking forward to. So I'm curious in seeing like your hopes for the program or anything that you wish could have been a little differently, anything interesting that you might come up with.
I'm looking forward to, I guess, more discussions, where I guess maybe not written discussions because I know we have those, but more like live discussions like these, where we can kind of again bounce ideas off each other. I think all of you guys and everyone in the cohort, I think they're all very intelligent and very interesting. So, like I said, maybe more meetings. And then I guess if I'm looking forward to something later on in the program, uh, yeah, something that involves the DSM-5, pathology, psychopathology. Love that. Can't wait for it.
I
So
really enjoy
when
the
you say
format.
meetings,
What was that?
are you referring to in-person meetings or more Zoom meetings?
Zoom so that we could include as many people as possible, I guess. Mhm.
Thank you for clarifying. Dalen, sorry for cutting you
I
off.
was just saying that I really enjoy the format, like like, what is it, 8 weeks, 6 weeks class, and then full length, and then 8 weeks. Because I have some friends that just take full length the entire time in grad school, and they're like, yeah, I'm drowning. And I'm like, wow, thank God that's not me.
Oh, I see. So you enjoy like the structure of the classes, that they make
Yeah.
it so that you're only ever taking 2 classes at a time.
Yeah. And they do a
Oh,
good
yeah, I see.
job at the 2 classes. Like, the one that's shorter is always like, you can take that in a short time period versus giving you one that's like, you need that full 12, 16 weeks, but they compress it and you're like, whoa, you really shouldn't have done that. So I feel like they
Right.
do a good job balancing the classes.
I agree. I guess something that I would criticize is just maybe like the classes that they put together. I feel like maybe if they kind of switched it around so that they related more to each other, it would be more interesting that way. But I don't know.
So you feel like there could be better pairings of classes.
Maybe, yeah.
That's fair. You have any thoughts on the matter, Monet, before we end?
I agree with everything that they said. Only thing that took me by surprise was probably the sexuality class. I thought we were going to be dealing with more like in-depth issues that come about and like more stuff that individuals are going through, but we still learned a lot in the class regardless.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you all taking the time to participate in this focus group. Hopefully we all learned a bit, and I feel like we made a lot of headway towards our insights on the topic. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you
Thank you
guys.
all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hope you all have a lovely day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.